All right, welcome in everyone to coursework episode number 1 for model number 3 and 4. Today we're going to be overviewing model number 3 and 4, the starter pack, what you need to know before trying to implement my system to start consistently pulling money out of the market. Understand that if you implement every single thing that I teach you in this video right now, you are going to be able to consistently implement this model effectively and not incorrectly like I've seen many people do in the past. So understand that this is a verified 88% win rate, not just a trust me bro. There's data to back it, there's proof to back it. It's all inside of the Discord. And can you expect a high win rate as well? Yes, you can. This is a high win rate trading system that gives you a very specific stop loss placement. It gives you a very specific take profit placement. Nothing is random. Everything is calculated. So with that said, let's kick it off with the first thing you need to know before implementing my system. Here we are. And I'm bringing this up first and foremost because it's so important. I want everybody to see it, because if you just avoid this right here, you are already going to be ahead of 90% of everyone else trying to implement this system. 90%, all right, if not more. Rushing is your number one enemy, especially if you're trading model number 3 and 4. Most traders, they want quick results, and this always leads to quick failure. What I mean by this is very specific, okay? I've seen hundreds of traders do this. I've been in this game for 6 years now. It's the same cycle every single time. So if you just listen to me now, you're not going to go through the same cycle. Traders see results on social media. They'll see stuff like this posted up, and they'll try to rush into doing the same. They want to replicate that. They want to get out of their job now. They want to change their situation now. They want to make 6 figures now. They want everything now. So what they do is they try to implement the system before they even have enough experience or reps actually trading it. So what's happening is, because they're chasing P&Ls right away, they're actually missing and failing to gain the tools that they need, right, with this model that's actually going to keep them consistently sustainable in the long run. Next is kind of what I was just speaking about a little bit, the social media trap, right? You see someone else posting up results and you want to compare yourself subconsciously. You want to keep up with that, leading you to rush, which again is your number one enemy if you're going to try and implement this system. Eliminating rushing will increase your odds of profitability by 90%, absolutely guaranteed. Model number 3 and 4 is absolutely powered by waiting. Okay, think about it. Without waiting and without implementing this point right here, there's going to be no electricity to keep the lights on for model number 3 and 4, and you're going to struggle to grasp consistency. If you come into this group with a long-term vision and not a short-term vision, worrying about short-term P&L, getting caught up in short-term outcomes, therefore making irrational decisions, you will succeed here. So long-term vision is always prioritized over the short term. That's all that matters at the end of the day, okay? All right, so with that said, we're going to go to the next slide. Second point that we're speaking about is long-term trader mindset equals success, right? Kind of going off of and buoying off of what we were just talking about. Focusing on short-term P&L will destroy you as a trader, okay? Because what happens at this point, if you're focusing on short-term P&L while you're trading model number 3 and 4, right, this is going to lead you to allow emotions to take the steering wheel. You're trading emotions and P&L rather than the actual system. All right, so the moment you just kind of trade the system consistently and don't worry about anything else is when the results are just going to come through naturally. Avoid the trader's graveyard. Dopamine addiction and seeking instant gratification. Okay, this is an absolute pandemic inside of the trading space. Dopamine addiction and seeking instant gratification. If you go to any free YouTube live stream, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Dopamine and seeking instant gratification kills so many traders and puts them in the trader's graveyard. So do not use this as a dopamine and instant gratification outlet, because you are going to be disappointed. Consistency will outweigh flashy P&Ls every single time. I cannot tell you guys how many times I've seen the same exact thing happen with so many traders, even people I personally know. They'll show these flashy P&Ls. They'll have great months, right? Just for the next couple months later, they fall off the face of the earth and they're nowhere to be seen because they gave it all back to the market. So if you want to avoid this, prioritize consistency instead of flashy P&Ls, because consistency will outweigh this every single time. And if you haven't learned this by now, and if you don't understand this right now, I promise you, give it a couple more months of trading and you will. The number one killer of profitability is short-term thinking plus ego plus acting on the ego number one killer of profitability. Third point is focus on finding a statistical edge at first. Okay, there's a lot of scams out there about, oh, you need trading psychology. Oh, you need this indicator. You need this. Or the reason why you're losing is because this, this, and this. But the truth about it, you need to focus on finding a statistical edge before anything else. Okay? Most traders lose money because they overcomplicate and they're consistently strategy hopping. Think about this logically for a moment. How can you ever expect to have consistent results if you're constantly switching up how you trade and trading differently? There's a misconnect with logic there. You're not going to get consistent, sustainable results if you're constantly switching systems and trading differently. If you trade the same thing every time, yeah, it makes sense to have consistent results to that point. Do we all agree on that? Stats and data over you. Stats and data are much more important and reliable than your instinct or your hunches or, just what you see on social media or some random YouTube video. Stats and data tell it all. And kind of going into what I was just talking about, avoiding multiple sources of information. If you come to me and learn this model and you learn this system, it is a guaranteed outlet to consistent profitability. Guaranteed. And we have many testimonials to back this. But if you go to multiple sources of information, you're trying to implement multiple systems, you're trying to use all these different concepts and mesh it all together, what's going to happen is you're going to end up freezing up in lifetime price because things are going to conflict one another and you're just going to be overcomplicating, which suffocates your ability to take massive action real time in live price. So avoid multiple sources of information. And here's the real kicker. 80% of psychological issues will be fixed with data and experience. So before you worry about psychology, oh, my psychology is bad, oh, this, and risk management, find an edge in the market because 80% of these issues will be resolved, again, with data and experience. And if you haven't been with us so far, we've been collecting data for years on end now, right? On the same exact system, all with real money, and it's not going to stop. Prove that your stuff works. Next point is finding the balance between passive and assertiveness. Okay, this is going to be very, very important when you actually start pushing buttons with this system and getting results like this, like we do on a weekly basis. There are times to push the edge, and there are also times to really not push your edge. So basically, when an A+ model number 3 and 4 pans out, which you're gonna know what that is by the time you trade with me for at least a couple months, right? Make that trade count when it shows. Do not have fear. Implement the correct stop loss, implement the correct take profit, be assertive relative to whatever equity that you have, and push that edge. Now, the other side of that is you also have to know when to be passive, not push that edge, not force a trade that's not there, right? When the model is there, it is there. Make it count so you're satisfied, so you don't feel like you have to take another trade after that. And what this does, and specifically this has worked wonders for me personally, is, just being one and done, one shot, one kill, making it count, scaling into the position, right? Taking it on multiple accounts when the model's there. What this does is it completely closes the door to going on tilt, right? Over trading, greed, all these other things that absolutely kill equity. So if I can get into the market when the model shows, I'm pushing that edge, right? I'm not being passive. I'm not being scared. I'm putting that risk on the table. I'm owning it. I'm putting the correct stop loss placement on. And by the time that trade hits, it's going to be in a manner where, that one trade can set me up for the entire week. All right. So in closing, definitely understand that this model number 3 and 4, you don't have to trust anything that I say. It's just all written in data, and it's done, taught, implemented live every single week. Okay, and if you choose to continue down this path with us, again, it's 110% guaranteed that you will have consistent, sustainable profitability in the markets. But you just have to apply all the points that I talked about here today, and especially do not overcomplicate the process. Here are some common trading myths that we need to address because I feel like a lot of people this leads them into pitfalls, and it's just all completely false. Profitable trading equals everyday trading. This cannot be farther from the truth. This is terrible advice. There's so many YouTubers and all these other guys that claim to be traders taking trades every single day because every day is a trading day, right? But with this system, every day is not a trading day. There's going to be days where it's really, really clean. And like we talked about, it's time to push that edge. But there's also days it's time to really, 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 really not push that edge. All right. And purely based on facts and my own data of my live trades, you can expect close to 3 really high quality A-tier model number 3/4s per week. And that's all you ever need. All you'll ever need is one. Trading success means instantly becoming a millionaire. This is a really, really bad myth, right? Because all you see on social media with traders is Lambos, the watches, the exotic stuff, right? All these flashy P&Ls, and that's all you're seeing. You're seeing a bunch of highlight reels, and this kind of brainwashes people into thinking that, when you made it, you have to be a millionaire or else it's nothing. And what this causes them to do is try to scale up way too quickly, right? And it leads into rushing and all the other things that we talked about. And this is actually going to delay your progress. How do I know? Because it's delayed my progress in my personal journey years and years and years ago. Trading myth number 3, trading is too complicated. It's only complicated in the beginning. Understand this. It's only complicated when you're first getting in, right? You're overwhelmed. There's so many different things that you feel you have to learn, and you're still trying to put the pieces together. But once you gain experience, trading is not some complicated thing. Where people mess up is they believe this myth, right? And they think that they have to bring in 100 different concepts like suspension blocks, and they need the Reaper block, they need all these other things that are just complete nonsense. Just to realize you just need one simple system, a boring system that works consistently and is proven. Okay, you don't need 100 different concepts. Do not overcomplicate it because this will suffocate your success. Myth number 4, you can't make a lot of money with one trade per week. Well, this is kind of self-explanatory because I've showcased this model for years now, and I've shown many examples of, just taking one trade on the week, and that's more than enough to pay all my bills and just be satisfied, okay? Anybody that says you can't make a lot of money with one trade in a week, they don't know what they're talking about. In fact, if you look at the statistics and the real facts across any firm, any brokerage, you're going to find that the most successful traders have the lowest frequency of trades. Go figure that one. Number 4, trading psychology is the problem. It's all about the trading psychology. That's why I'm losing and that's why I can't trade. This is a big myth, especially for people that do not have experience in the market. The true problem is most people actually don't have an edge in the market. Understand that. Trading myth number 6, you need to know where the markets are going every single day. Now, this is something that really delayed my progress, and I'll tell you why. I constantly was so overwhelmed, man. I would come into the charts. I thought that I always needed to know where the market was going. I was trying to implement multiple models, and one day I was trading the whatever model, and then the next day I was trading a whole different thing. Just to realize, model number 3 and 4 was all I needed. Model number 3 is the same exact thing every single time, and the thing about it is I don't have to know daily buys every single day. I don't always have to know where the market's going. I just have to wait, be patient, and allow my model to come to me naturally. And that is how successful, sustainable profitability is truly encapsulated, by attacking the markets in that manner, not coming into the market, trying to impose your ego, trying to predict the market 24/7, right? And all this other nonsense. All right, so this will conclude the coursework episode number 1 for model number 3 and 4. This is everything that you need to understand before you try implementing my system, okay? This is why I'm teaching this before actually breaking down the real mechanics of the model, because without this, I promise you, it doesn't matter how good you get at identifying this model, you're never going to make it if you don't consider all these points that I gave you here today. So if you engrave all this stuff into your mind right now, okay, and then you learn model number 3 and 4, I promise you, you're going to be seeing crazy results by the end of this year, okay? Don't take my word for it. Go and find out for yourself. With that said, I'll see you guys in episode number 2 next week. Take care.